Alright guys, so we just got an absolutely huge new leak for Pokemon Generation 10. We got a bunch of updated info about where the game's going to take place, and also some info about the new gimmick of the game, as well as just some other pieces of info about the legendary Pokemon of the game, and also some info about the protagonist of the game, the professor of the game, the evil team of the game, a new type of Pokemon that we've never seen before. And if you guys stick around to the end of the video, we got a huge potential leak from in-game of Pokemon Generation 10. So we got a bunch of crazy stuff about Pokemon Generation 10 to go over in this video, but I do want to say quick before we get into it that I'm trying to hit 20,000 subscribers on my channel. I'm also going to be covering all the latest Pokemon news and rumors, so if you guys don't want to miss any of that stuff, make sure you guys subscribe because it helps me get even closer to my goal. And also real quick, I just want to say that me and Fundoris are going to be giving away one copy of the Pokemon Legends EA DLC, so if you guys want to enter that, all you guys have to do is join our Discord server. We're going to announce the winner once the DLC releases, so make sure you guys don't miss out on that. But anyways, let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is all fresh info today, so we got a bunch of new stuff from Centro here. So first off, he says Pokemon Gen 10, Pokemon Wind and Waves is the name, so we've already kind of known that for months. And then the theme of this game is Infinity, and it's directed by Shigeru Omori, so that stuff is kind of stuff we already knew, but this right here is the big kind of curveball that we got today. So before, we thought that this game was going to take place in Greece. Like, the rumor was before that this game was going to take place in the Cyclades Islands in Greece, but it looks like this game is actually going to take place in Indonesia and Southeast Asia, which is, you know, a really interesting change. All right, so I actually kind of missed this leak right here. So Riddler Coup has actually confirmed that this information that Centro shared is correct. So Pokemon Wind and Waves is actually going to be set in Southeast Asia. So the Greece rumor was totally fake, which I think is crazy because everyone's been saying this game was going to be in Greece the entire time. So that's a huge curveball. I didn't expect to see that whatsoever. So that's honestly going to be really interesting to see what this game's going to look like. Like I said though, these two areas in real life geographically are really similar. Like, they both have a bunch of islands and stuff like that. So I don't think the overall gameplay and experience of this game is going to change all too much just based on that. So for any of you guys who kind of had your sights set on Greece, I'm just telling you guys, don't be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this right here is pretty interesting. So this is a machine translation of the theme of the game, and we have this whole kind of poem almost kind of thing here. And I think the main takeaways from this is that it says the winds and waves of the times, storms and whirlpools, the unseen force creates nature, brings forth abundance, and gives birth to peace. You guys can just pause and read the whole thing if you're interested, but this right here is kind of the main, like, you know, theme and inspiration behind the game, which I think is pretty interesting. It's going to be cool to see kind of how the story of this game plays out. I would honestly really like to see kind of a more deep theme in this game, kind of like we had in Pokemon Black and White. I think that would be really sick. We haven't had anything like that for a while, so I would hope they would kind of take this game in more of a direction like that, but I guess we're going to have to see what happens. I'm sure this game is going to be crazy no matter what. Like, it is the 10th generation of Pokemon after all, so you already know they're going to give us something crazy because that's a huge milestone for the series. And then Centro kind of posted like the story behind each legendary Pokemon, so he's translated it here. So I guess this one right here would be the Storm legendary Pokemon, so the Wind legendary Pokemon, I guess. And it says it's the role of an old man. It lives on an island that keeps people away. It possesses the power of the wind to properly guide humans and Pokemon, and it accepts only those humans who have correctly raised the seed Pokemon. And then second is the Wave package, so obviously like the Wave legendary. It says its role is that of an old woman. It lives on an island that keeps people away. So just like the Wind Pokemon, it possesses the power of the waves to properly guide humans and Pokemon, and it accepts only those humans who have correctly raised the seed Pokemon. So, you know, both of these descriptions are basically the same. It seems like the classic legendary Pokemon dynamic. Like, you guys can think Zekrom and Reshiram, Solgaleo and Lunala, you know, they all kind of have a similar story, but there's a couple different dynamics between them. But either way, I think that's really interesting. It's going to be cool to see what these Pokemon actually end up looking like. And then this one right here is pretty hype. So this is the new battle mechanic for Pokemon Winds and Waves. So it's called Tenko Waza, which could be translated to weather moves, which I think is really interesting because we know that the weather and kind of the environment is going to be a big theme in this game. Like, the rumor is that every single island is going to have its own kind of unique environment that's affected by the Pokemon that inhabit the island. So my guess is that maybe each Pokemon from each island is going to have its own kind of Z move thing, and the type of that move will change based on the weather on the island. I feel like most likely it'd be something like that, but I guess we're going to have to see. Let me know if you guys have any ideas for the gimmick down below and what you guys think weather moves might entail. Okay, so actually it says that the seed Pokemon is an unevolved form of Pokemon. So a baby Pokemon of the seed species that can be found in resort areas, which I'm not really sure what that is yet, but apparently it's a rare sight and nobody's ever seen its final evolved form. And when it travels to the main island where the legendary Pokemon is, it begins to evolve. So this is kind of like a new thing. We've never seen an evolution mechanic like this before, so that's going to be interesting. I'm honestly not really sure where to even begin to kind of theorize more details about this. So yeah, like I've been saying about everything in this video, man, let me know down below what you guys think this could be. I feel like you guys could probably come up with a better theory than me, but either way, I think this is some really cool info, and it's definitely got me pretty hyped for Gen 10. And then next, we actually got some info about the professor of the game, as well as the evil team and the protagonist, which I think is absolutely insane. So we got the professor who lives in a big city. So I guess the big city is going to be themed after Kuala Lumpur, which is a big city in Malaysia. So that makes sense because obviously the game's taking place in Southeast Asia. And then the evil team is called the land development team. So it says they're a for-hire group that destroys nature to expand land for profit. They have no ideals. They just complain while working for their salary. And then the professor is a nature guide working at the hotel known as the survival professor. He researches the relationship between weather and Pokemon. So again, that makes sense, right? Every single professor in every Pokemon game kind of researches like the main gimmick of the game. At least it's been like that for the last few generations. So I think that's cool. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then he studies Pokemon that can become embodiments of weather itself. Although knowledgeable through books, his real survival skills are inferior to the professor's friend, I guess. So that's pretty cool. I mean, this stuff all kind of lines up with Pokemon games. Like this kind of blueprint isn't something that we haven't seen before, but I think it sounds cool. I'm definitely hyped to see it. And then I think this sounds cool. So it says that Pokemon Winds and Waves starts the adventure in a big tourist city. They mentioned that they specifically wanted to break the pattern of always starting the game in small towns. So I think that's definitely going to make this game kind of stand out in that regard. And then a lot of people are going to be excited about this news right here. It says in Pokemon Winds and Waves, you start your adventure in the big resort hotel. And apparently they want this hotel to serve as an MMO lobby. So everybody who's wanted a Pokemon MMO, it looks like you guys are going to get what you want in this game, which is really hype. Like that's going to be crazy. We've never seen anything like this before. And then the last couple bits of info that we have is that Game Freak wants this game to tackle the jungle environment, which hasn't really been fully seen before in Pokemon games. So again, I think that's super hype as well. I think that's going to be super fun. Like I think this game is really going to be different from what we expect, which is, you know, you can't complain about that, you know what I'm saying? And then it says that every Pokemon can be ridden or touched. And then the final huge leak of the video is that this is actually supposedly a leaked image of Pokemon Generation 10. So I think this is actually the first leaked image that we have of the game so far. And it looks like this is part of some kind of underwater exploration. And it looks like we got Lumineon right here. So I think that's crazy, guys. Let me know what you guys think about that down below if you guys think this is actually real. But because of all this teraleak stuff, I feel like there is a good chance that it could be real. So yeah, make sure you guys let me know what you think about it. And then the final piece of news about Gen 10 of the video is that this game is actually going to release in 2026, which is absolutely hype. I can't believe this game is actually coming out next year. I've been saying for a while, I think it would make sense for them to release it on the 30th anniversary. So the fact that that's actually happening is pretty crazy, you know what I'm saying? So that's one final piece of hype to throw on top of all the other crazy stuff that we covered in this video. And let me know what you guys think about all this Gen 10 info. If you guys are hyped for this stuff, I think this game honestly sounds like it's going to be really good. So I'm honestly really looking forward to it. And like I said at the start of the video, I'm trying to hit 20,000 subscribers on my channel. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys don't want to miss any future Pokemon updates and news, then make sure you guys subscribe. It really helps me reach my goal. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.